Today I am sharing exactly how to take control over your mind so that you can stop your thoughts dictating your entire life and instead you can be the creator of your own reality. When I learned how to take control of my thoughts and of my mind, everything completely changed in my life. I no longer perceived the world in the same way again, and I can't wait for you to get this as well. My name is Kath Kyle, and I help conscious creators and change makers manifest success through my dream business coaching, courses, and club. So let's take a look at our minds and of our thoughts. So what is the problem? What's the problem with our minds and our thoughts? A lot of the time, our thoughts are negative and they seem to dictate our entire days. You get these random thoughts popping into your mind like something bad is going to happen. I'm going to fail at this. This is not going to go the way I want. I am not going to have the energy. I am going to be too tired to do this. I won't have enough money to do this. You are predicting the future with your thoughts all of the time, causing worry, causing anxiety, and this is controlling your whole life. So how do you take control of your thoughts so that you are not letting your thoughts control you? So the first thing to look at when we want to take control of our thoughts is to ask ourselves the question, who is thinking these thoughts? When you take a step back and really think about who is thinking these thoughts, it really helps you to start thinking deeply, because we are not just our human selves. Our human selves think thoughts, but we are also spiritual beings, and spiritual beings are outside of our human body, so that when the human body ceases to be, our spiritual nature continues. So this is a very powerful way to look at life. Is it the human you who is thinking these thoughts, or is it the spiritual you who is thinking these thoughts, or is it a combination of both? Let me ask you another question. Are you in control of these thoughts? Did you decide to think these thoughts? The last negative thought that you had, did you sit down and think, I'm going to think a thought right now. I know what my thought is going to be. I'm going to think that I'm really worried about something bad happening, and that is a thought I want to think, and therefore I'm thinking something bad is going to happen. No, you didn't decide that. You didn't decide that you were going to think a thought. It just happened automatically, didn't it? You didn't want to think that thought. It just popped into your mind as if by autopilot. You didn't want it to be there. You didn't plan it to be there. If you could go back in time, you would erase it from your mind. Where do these annoying random thoughts pop in? Where do they come from? So this is a really good question to ask yourself. Where do these thoughts come from? My own belief is that our thoughts come from our existing belief system. Our existing belief system is what was created when we were programmed, usually as children, but we can continue to be programmed as adults as well. But usually the way in which we see the world was programmed up to the age of 7 years old. We are in a programmable state up to the age of 7, and we're not in control of things. So after the age of 7, the way in which you view life is usually set in stone unless you have been awakened to the fact that you can actually control your own belief system and control your own thoughts, which is what you are doing right now, which is fantastic that you are here. But most people are unaware that they can control their belief systems and control their thoughts. So they go through life on autopilot. Their thoughts are automatically popping into their minds because of their existing belief system that's already there. They don't realize that they have any control over their thoughts. And the worst thing about it is that they think that their thoughts are literally the truth. They think just because their brain has thought a thought, then that thought must be true. If they are worried about something happening in the future, they think, oh, that means that that bad thing is going to happen in the future. And a lot of the time they are proven right, because we do know that we are the creators of our own reality. But unfortunately, a lot of people see that in negativity. They see that, oh, because I've thought a negative thought, that negative thing is now going to happen. So they are manifesting, they are creating their own reality all the time, but they're just doing it in a way that they don't want. They're doing it in a way that's in accordance with their existing belief system without really deciding what they want to think on purpose. But thankfully, you are here right now and you know that you can decide what to think on purpose. So how do we actually change our thoughts? How can we control our mind when we're going through our normal day? Is there any way that we can possibly control our thoughts and decide what to think instead of what we actually think? And normally the answer is no. Most of the time when you're going through your day and something happens, you react to it automatically. At that point in time, you can't actually change your thoughts. You can't control your thoughts. You can't decide to think a different thought than what you already thought. Your thought that you think will be automatic. After you've thought that thought, if you are aware enough, you can take a look at it and decide, actually, I don't want to think that thought. I reject that thought. No, cancel that thought out. I am creating a new thought, and you can think the opposite of that thought at that point. At that point, you can become conscious, but that initial negative thought that randomly popped into your brain, you actually can't control that in that very moment. You can't control your thoughts from your thoughts. You have to take a step above your thoughts to be able to control your mind and control your thoughts. So you can't control your thoughts from your thoughts in the very moment, but what you can do is you can take a step up, and as a spiritual being, you can decide what you want your belief systems to be. But you can't do this in the moment of stress, in the moment of hyperactivity as you're going through your life. You have to do it in a moment where you are calm, where you're thinking logically, where you're thinking calmly, you're thinking consciously, and you're sitting there consciously. A good time to do this is before you go to sleep or when you first woken up in the morning, and you can decide what you want your belief system to be first thing in the morning. And if you decide what you want your belief system to be, you can actually manifest having a new belief system using manifestation techniques. And once you have created a new belief system, from that new belief system comes new automatic thoughts as you go through the day, because we are always in a process called the automatic unfolding, which means we are always running on autopilot. Even if we are conscious creators and we are creating our own reality, we are still running on autopilot most of the time throughout the day, meaning we don't choose our thoughts throughout the day on autopilot, they just happen. But we can change our belief system, which means that the automatic thoughts that come into our mind throughout the day end up being a lot more positive than they used to be and serve us a lot more. So we have to take a step back and look at our belief system. So how do we manifest a new belief system? You can do this by declaring certain things. I just created a video on this. Do this first thing in the morning. It's very, very powerful. Go and watch that, because that will explain what I recommend to do first thing in the morning as soon as you wake up to create a new belief system. But here's another technique that you can use to create a new belief system. You can create something called a reverse memory, which is a memory of something that has happened in your imagination before it's happened in the physical reality. So if you create a memory of something that you want to actually believe, then this is what you will start to believe, and therefore the automatic unfolding will go according to your plan and not to your existing belief system where you were pre-programmed what you didn't decide when you were a child. So you might decide, I want to be a positive person who has positive thoughts. So you can manifest that by creating a reverse memory. So what you could do, and this is a technique I like to use, it's created based on a conversation. So you imagine in your mind a conversation that you are having with somebody that you trust, and that person is saying to you, wow, you are such a positive person. I've really noticed a positive change in you for the better. And then you say something back to them like, I know, it's great. I'm thinking much more positive thoughts now than I used to think. And that creates this reverse memory in your mind. And if you replay this memory over and over again, loop this memory over and over again as you're going to sleep, when you wake up in the morning, then this will become a memory that's etched into your brain, and it will become a new belief system. So now you are the type of person to think more positive thoughts. So these are the automatic thoughts that will happen based on the belief system that you have now decided on. And when I did this, this had massively dramatic effect on my life. I used to think very, very negative thoughts all the way through the day. I was constantly full of anxiety, full of stress, worrying about everything, predicting the worst in every circumstance of life. I just couldn't relax. I always thought something bad was going to happen. I always had that horrible fear inside me that something bad was going to happen, that I'd made a mistake, that that the past was a mistake, that the future was going to be a mistake. And when I started to manifest the thoughts that I actually wanted to think, then everything transformed for me. And now, most of the time, my thoughts are very positive. I have the automatic reaction that I want to think. I am much more calm when things happen, when circumstances happen, as they do to most people, that I didn't necessarily plan, because I don't always plan my entire day in advance, and I still do have existing belief systems that I'm still working on. So things do still happen that I haven't decided on in advance. When these things happen to me that would normally cause me a lot of stress, now I've noticed my thoughts are a lot calmer, and they just think, oh, it's okay, everything's going to be fine, everything's working out for me. And these are the things, the constant things that pop into my brain now when I have challenges pop up in life. I think, oh, how can I deal with this? What's the solution to this? And then a solution pops into my mind immediately. And that's what happens when challenges come into my mind now, is that it's very, very rare for me to feel overwhelmed with a challenge that's come into my life, which is absolutely life-changing for me. So I really hope that that has the same effect on you. And I would love to know if this technique works for you. And if you would like an in-depth guide on creating reverse memories, then click the link underneath this content and you will be able to get that as well. And if you would like to take things a step further and really delve into success manifestation, then I encourage you to join my Business Manifestation Club, where we focus on a different aspect of manifestation every single month. We do a different challenge together, and we really delve deep into this stuff and really transform our lives, our businesses, our work, and really manifest success. It's very exciting. So if you liked this video, I would love it if you would click the like button, because that really helps more people to find it. And now it's your turn to go and put your stamp on the world.